determine those results. We thank NetJets for their support of our competition here on Thursday afternoon as we're about to vie for the share of the prize money in our first of the two-star events of the week.
If you want speed, you've come to exactly the right place. In the world of show jumping, a new exciting competition starts here on the Great Lakes. Well, just over on the land, over at the Flintfield Showground, something very special is coming. A new amazing series, the team competition on the Saturday, and of course featuring a 5-star Grand Prix as well. It's big, it's exciting, it's simply known as Major League Show Jumping.
So thanks again to sponsor NetJets here in 2021, again bringing us this two-star large tour two-phase competition. And we'll hear a word from NetJet.
Something about when you get up early, prep the plane, and you take off. Something about when you get up early, prep the plane, and you take off. The air is crystal. You get that first, you can see forever, and the air is crystal smooth. The right aircraft, you can see forever. Flight with the right crew up front. You have to have only NetJets right aircrafts for the right flight. Dissolves into the back crew up front. It should just be NetJets here and now. The flight dissolves into the background.
Thanks again to NetJets, an official sponsor of the Traverse City Horse Shows. NetJets, the worldwide leader in private aviation, offers seamless travel options to athletes and attendees every year. NetJets is proud to be a Berkshire Hathaway company known for its unwavering commitment to safety, service, and unmatched global access. Visit netjets.com today. And of course, while we thank NetJets, we'd also like to salute Marshall and Sterling for their support, bringing us the order of go at the start of our feature classes. And here's the order of go, of course, as you can see. We do have Ashley Vogel at the top of that list, but you should be aware that we do have an ad in front of that list. Here's will, in fact, be our first one to go. She'll show Christos for Bridgeside Farms, then to Ashley Vogel with Bellissimo Z, Teddy Pritzker for the ride aboard Katunji for Evergreen Stables. Kristen Vanderveen, happy to have her with us here this week. We'll run Prince of Peace, will be her mount. Then Emma Marlowe with Cherokee, Caitlin Campbell with Cavalier Kate. And that means that the top 7 in the order will, in fact, be riders for the USA. Ireland's had a great run of competitions over the last 2 weeks. Mark Kinsella will represent them today with Grasshopper, in fact, showing in the 8th position. Rodrigo Lambre will have a ride for Brazil. That'll be Bakugan de Saint Jean. And a run for the USA, Alexis Sokolov out of California with Paso de Senor. Mario Oñate from Mexico with Cantero. And Jessica Mendoza for Great Britain with Heat of the Night will be a part of our Marshall and Sterling order of go in the top, actually 11 spots showing here today.
I'm Danielle Toronto. And we are customers of Marshall and Sterling. They have been amazing for us, for our business. They take care of our farm, our horses, our cars. It's basically one-stop shopping for us.
I'm Jimmy Toronto.
Unfortunately, we've actually had to really use Marshall and Sterling for
for horse death, and I have to say that Marshall & Sterling has been an amazing, amazing company. They have taken care of things. It's been worry-free. The person we deal with, Missy, she takes it all upon herself. Once we go to her with the claim, she does it all for us. And I have to say, since we've been with Marshall & Sterling, I just can't think of going anywhere else. I put all my trust, all my faith in them.
Directly up the center line of the arena will be fence number 1 to begin. Over to fence number 2, which is our Meyer. The Meyer Ox are making up fence number 2 here today. Coming around to the combination here. The Cabana Coast Vertical will be the third fence on the course here today. And after the Cabana Coast fence, the vertical on down, they'll go to the yellow and blue Oxer number 4. All right, through the Traverse City Horse Shows Arch comes our first entry here today. We've got somewhere in the vicinity at 62 entries when taking into account the scratches. The top of the order, of course, Las Vegas, Nevada-based U.S. rider Bliss Hears, and she's going to ride a good
to an afternoon here in Traverse City. It is warm. It's a little bit damp around the edges, but it's improving by the minute. And for the rest of the week, we're expecting to get great sunshine,
2012
and
to start it
it's
off.
going to be steamy here for the next few days.
Busy riders so far this season with a big ribbon throughout the course of the early year in Wellington, Florida, the Kentucky Horse Park during the Spring Series, and on
large tour two-face for the two-star classes.
More recently, before coming back to Traverse City for this two-star competition,
very
again,
first
brought
of
to us
the
by
major league
NetJets.
competitions as that new competition kicks off here in Traverse City as well. It'll be taking place here over the next couple of weeks. We'll tell you more about that as we go through. But today we bring you two-star. Tomorrow we get into the five-star competitions, and then Saturday sees the team competition at 6 o'clock at night, and Sunday sees the two-star Grand Prix and the five-star Grand Prix. A lady who's competed in both goes now in Bliss Hears, and Bliss back from Europe. She's based over in Las Vegas, Nevada. Christos, alongside me, is international rider Hardin Towle as well. Hardin, very good afternoon to you.
Hi, Stephen.
Now, nice little two-face to start them off this week. Get them into their stride, basically. This is what we're looking for here. 8 fences in the first phase. Again, it is a straightforward two-phase class. If they have a fence down in the first phase, well, they go out. If they're clear, they carry on to phase 2. Hardin watching closely. Where are we up to?
This is Bliss Hears with Christos. I think she's had him for about 2 years, and I think she's just having a nice pop around here. She's being a little bit competitive, but looks like just kind of, there you go, she's elected not to keep going.
8 fences on the first part of the course. She actually jumped fence 9 as well, but she goes out after the first phase. Let's give you a little bit more facts about that. Time allowed in the first phase of 55 seconds. Time allowed in the second is 44 seconds. So as I say, straightforward two-phase class to start off the week. But we're going to see a big number here with 64. You can see down in the corner of your screen there, 1 of 64. That gives you an idea of how many we've got in the class. And I say all part of the big major league week, first week of this new competition. But the traditional competition's taking alongside it, and a rider who's had a terrific run this year already with that very good finish in the MSU25 series down in Wellington, Florida. Ashley Vogel, horse she rode to wins there this season as well. Bellissimo's there, the chestnut mare by Mameko de Muse. And Hardin, here, as you say, I mean, a nice tour round for Bliss to start off with. This is just a good step into the week for a few.
It is, you know, this is actually, this horse with Ashley is a fantastic pair. They've, you know, won a lot this year. She's just stepping up to this level, and she had a great couple Kentuckys, jump clean in one of the 3 stars there. You know, these shows where you have 5-star and 2-star, you get a different group. You know, you get some people that are moving up to the 2-star level. You get some 5-star riders that are doing either some of their younger horses and moving up, or some of their older horses that you know, are having kind of an easier week to try to be competitive. So you get a different group of people. So it's, you know, it's nice to see you know, just a wide variety of riders and horses.
Just takes us through there from the first phase through to the second. She's actually, I think, going to call it a day after there as well. Just looking, time's ticking up, but she's headed past fence 9. I think we'll have a few of those.
We'll see a lot of those. You know, this is a $5,000 class, and there's a much bigger week to come. And I think a lot of people will do that.
But either way, it gives you a good chance to get in the ring, see the fences, because a lot of these fences, you've been here for the last few seasons here in Traverse City as well. They've stepped it up again, new material in there, gives you a chance to get in and see it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fantastic ring. They've done a great job yesterday. It rained, or no, Tuesday it rained so much in the morning.
Biblically.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was by, you know, an hour later, it was fantastic. It's really great surfaces up here.
So we move on to Teddy Pritzker, first of 2 for Teddy into this class from the Evergreen Stables of Chicago, Illinois. Cat and G, Holsteiner Gelding by Contact Me, has been with her for a couple of seasons now, former ride of Catherine Tyree as well, and with Teddy based not too far from here. was with us last season too, here for the Traverse City Horse Shows. Nice step for her into the 2-star this week as well, and a nice experienced horse to have underneath her.
Absolutely, it's a fantastic horse, and she's had some very good results with it, and it's been a horse that's really helped her step up to the next level, and it's just, you know, it's been a great horse for everybody that's had it.
Nice tour round over the NetJets fence, and this comes to the last fence. She's cutting inside the Major League pillars, and off and running on to the second phase. Looks like she's going to have a spin.
Yeah, you know, I imagine she would. She's just stepping up to this level, and it's great experience.
Yeah.
The more, you know, she can get in and keep going, and
just has that one cutting the corner there. Get some looping around the arena. Marina Azevedo, our course designer here this week.
you know, it's so nice to be up here every year. It just gets nicer and nicer, doesn't it?
Yeah. There we go, nice cruise round there. Lovely spot to be, as Harlan said. It is on the score then of 4:39.15. Just that one fence down in the jump off there. But again, as you say, good experience round for her. Just caught that one on the turn.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a fantastic round. Maybe cut in and went to the left a little bit off of the turn, but that was a very solid round, and I'm sure they're very pleased. My good friend Andrew Wells is her coach, and he's done a fantastic job with her, and they've really made a lot of progress.
And as you say, it is a bit of a mix of those competing in the two-star here this week. You see Kristen van der Veen with Bull Run's Prince of Peace, horse that's competed right the way through to 5-star level as well. She's also going to be part of the teams for Major League. She's on the Diamond Devils team, but she's into the two-star with this horse this week. Remember, we've got 2 weeks coming up for you, so there's going to be a little bit of mix and match from some of the teams of how they play that over the next few weeks as well, with their squad of 6. Kristen van der Veen.
She's very fast, you know.
Yeah.
You're always scared when she's behind you in the jump off.
But she's won here. I mean, a nice cruise round here for her could put her in the lead.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And as you say, whatever the prize money is, it's always nice to start with a few dollars in your pocket.
For sure it is. For sure it is.
And Kristen, as I mentioned, going to be on those teams for Diamond Devils, and as Harding quite rightly said, she's very fast. She's going to be a deadly one to have in those final rounds where you put one rider in and they battle it out in a ride-off. But again, we'll explain all that to you as we go through the week. If you haven't looked already, go and have a look at the Major League show jumping website. It'll tell you how it works. But a nice cruise round here for her, and this pair should take this in their stride pretty easily. There we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, she's off.
There she goes.
Here we go. Not coming for practice.
No.
Well, maybe it is practice for the bigger classes as well, but a nice cut inside there. And I mean, she's just on a different pace here. But as you say, you can use this class here for that. Just catches that one on the way into the double. But again, it's a good one for her to get into the week.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There you go. Finishes on the 4:28.37, and regardless, as you say, a nice run round, because you want to be able to ask that.
Well, I think it's very nice. The speed phase is not so long.
Yeah.
So she really didn't take much out of her horse there by doing that. You know, okay, she had an unfortunate rail, but it's not like she had to go and jump 10 more jumps. She jumped. I think the speed phase is set up perfect, where if you want to have a little bit of a run with your horse, it's fine without taking much out of them.
Well, Emma Marlowe now. Emma from Wellington, Florida, running horse owned by the Trelawney Farm of New York. This is Cherokee, the gelding by Cardento. Also a horse she rode in Florida this year in the U25 classes. And another one recently competing in Lexington. Pretty well a lot of the groups here over the last few weeks have been on pretty well the same tour. Florida through.
Emma's doing well. She has a nice group of horses, and having the Trelawney Farm behind her, and they have a very good team.
Yes, Trelawney Farm of Cara Rather Carey, who actually rides in this class a little bit later on as well.
stepping very well so far.
And there we go. Now she's setting up. Yes, she is. I remember Kristen van der Veen had a fence down, so she has left the door open for them, but she went round in 28.37 to give us a little bit of an idea of time. I don't think Emma's going to chase that. I think she's actually saying she's done as well. And decides to retire.
We've seen 2 already that have actually jumped 9 and then retired, and it makes sense a little bit. You have the Liverpool, and then it's not a bad fence, a skinny like that you can put them back on their hind end, try to get them to have a little shape, and then and then that's what I would do with probably most of my horses if I was in this class. Just because if you end on the Liverpool and then maybe they're a little strung out, having that skinny might just put them back on their hind end and get them a little bit organized for tomorrow's class.
Just puts everything back in a package.
Back together. You got it.
And Kaylin Campbell now, another of the fast riders that's also part of the upcoming Major League competitions. S&M Horses LLC of Wellington's Cavalier Kate. Kaylin, who's based over in California these days, riding this mare by Balou de Rouet. Also was with us last week for the 3-star competitions, kicking off this is all part of the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival as well. 6 weeks of competition here, and then we're back in September with the American Gold Cup and Silver Oak Tournament.
I haven't seen Caitlin in a couple years since she's been in California, but she did. She had a great little horse called Rocky W. That she started from the junior jumpers and jumped all the way clean to 5-star in Wellington. There was one, I think there was one Grand Prix where there was only about 5 clean and 4 clean, and so that was a fantastic horse, and it's nice to see, down for her in phase 1. And again, all the time, it's always that difficult. Like Caitlin had a super horse there. You've always, and this, you've got to be building on the next generation. You're always always on the lookout. Right, we've got one good one. You've been running 5-year-olds this morning. Absolutely, you got it. I mean, you always have to be looking for them, and you never know when you find them and they come in your life, and the older that you get, you realize that you have one, and then a couple years later you get another one. You just have to always be in search for, and it's getting so much harder. Before, when I was younger, you didn't have access to so much Clip My Horse and all these live feeds that you could find a diamond in the rough. Now everybody knows that.
Everybody spotted it.
Exactly. So you have to be a little bit more creative.
Mark Kinsella now, and Mark the Irishman, and riding Caroline Vittorio's Grasshopper, the Dutch bred 10-year-old now. Mark based up in Aurora, Ontario. Also another of those that was down in Wellington, Florida earlier on this year as well. Sun just making the effort to poke back through again now. Again, nice quiet run to just get them into this week. Good to have the opportunity for the 5 and the 2-star, isn't it? Because again, you can see how popular it is. I think there's something like 76 riders in the 2-star.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Just going to last on the first phase. And there we go. Of course, he had the 4 a little bit earlier on, so 49.54 will finish on the 4 there for Mark Kinsella of Ireland and Grasshopper. So he heads on out. Leading the way still so far is Kristen van der Veen on the 4 and 28.37. Again, it also gives us a little chance to introduce you to some of the riders you're going to see here this week. As Hardin said, some of the riders here as well you'll see in the 5-star later on this week too. People like Shane Sweetnam coming up, and people like Rodrigo Lambre now. Marionates Bacogan de Saint-Jean, the Self-Francais by Cannon, the 10-year-old for again another rider who's got plenty on his CV when it comes to big 5-star classes as well. First of 2 horses for him here this week.
Without Spruce Meadows running this year, it's it's very much like a Spruce Meadows feel here.
Yep.
A lot of the boys coming up from Mexico, and so it's great to see different horses that we don't get to see during the winter as much, and competing with, okay, Rodrigo comes to Wellington, but just a different group that we would normally compete with at Spruce Meadows.
Yes, there's been a big influx here this year as well, and also a lot of people came last year, enjoyed it, like you said, and said, I'm coming back, thanks very much.
And it's so nice to see show facilities where every year there's an improvement. You know, it's nice for us as exhibitors to, as you know, it's a lot carrying these horses and traveling around, so it's nice to see the shows put so much effort into it.
Yeah. And you like to reward them by coming and competing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cruising around on a nice one so far. As I say, if he goes clear, he would go into the lead at this point. $5,000 NetJets 2-star here this afternoon. Just coming into this double where Kristen van der Veen just had the fence down. He leaves it up. Rodrigo Lambre with a chance to take the early lead, as you can see from the bottom of your screen. 8 gone of 64 and a time of 33.09. And there he goes, takes over the lead. Now, to remind you that Kristen van der Veen's time was 28.37. But it is all about leaving the fences up, and that's what they did. So, going into the lead there is Rodrigo Lambre. Nicely done from them. I say first of 2 rides for Rodrigo. Alexis Sokolov has also been with us for the last few weeks. Of course, we've had several shows. If you haven't been with us here in Traverse City, we had a 3-week spring show series. Took a week away, a week's breather. I won't say a week off because everybody here was working hard. There were horses everywhere and everybody was keeping everything ticking over, but took a breather week. And Alexis was part of that. She has won a lot nationally and has stepped up really well, and last week had a good set of results as well together here in Traverse City. Alexis Sokolov of Rancho Santa Fe, California. The Hot Horses LLC's for Sol de Senor is a mare by Doremi.
So this mare I actually owned for a couple years. I never showed her, but I had her with Angelica, and Marcus Inning rode her a little bit. He showed her in Volkenswaard.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic mare, and this partnership's been great. Stevie Mack and a good friend of mine, him and I had her together, and she's just a lovely, lovely mare. She's a chestnut mare, so she's a bit opinionated, but she's very careful and a fighter. And it's funny, we were talking about Spruce Meadows. Her father is a horse called Doremi, who Van Asselin used to show himself.
Right.
A little bit of a different model, bigger, heavier stallion, but looks like she just had a nice school around there, setting up for tomorrow's class.
Yep, so just going to call it a day after that first round, but a nice round put together for Alexis Sokolov and for Sol de Senor. I always find it fascinating going through when horses have reached the top of where the path they took when you went through.
Exactly.
It's quite surprising sometimes of who turned down some of the biggest names as well.
Exactly. I won 5-star in Wellington this year. I was watching the class online. I was home, and I was like, I sat on that horse as a young horse, and then afterwards I was like, and I went and looked, and I think 8 of the 45 horses I had ridden at one point either tried or competed, and it's just funny, the path in life, different horses that you see that could have ridden 6 years ago halfway across the world, and then here we end up like I tried that mare 6 years ago, and a middle of a field in Belgium. So it's funny now, 6 years later, I see her in Michigan.
Mario Nacional, Pampero, as you say, part of that group from Mexico, and he's actually based in California. Pampero by Chaco Blue, and now an 11-year-old Chaco Blue, of course, we're talking stallions, appears on a regular basis throughout, and has continued to be up there as one of the leading sires. And again, I mean, you looked at plenty of horses. Chaco Blue, if I take a look at this horse, what am I seeing that's Chaco Blue out of this?
All the Chaco Blues, most of them are very careful. They can be a little bit strong and a bit aggressive. Typically, Chaco Blues you see ridden by a lot of professionals, and they're a little bit difficult, but it's amazing how many are at the top level, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's got that fighting spirit in there. Obviously.
Exactly.
Marinate on Pampero. Still clear at the moment.
It's very interesting with these stallions. I have a good friend of mine that lives in France, and we were talking just traits of young horses, and I think Chaco Blue is similar to there's a horse Penelope Road. What was the stallion she did in the World Cup a couple years ago? It was a bay stallion.
I know the one you mean, and my brain stopped
it's
as well.
It's going to come to me in a minute. And he was, the good friend of mine was saying, most of those horses, when they're 4 and 5, they look very average, and then now is Vagabond,
yeah.
there you go. And he says now, the older that they get, he says there's a lot of 9 and 10-year-olds that are very good. So it's just, it's difficult. It's very difficult, and that's what I was saying to you about finding young horses and finding very good horses. One thing that you can't change is the feeling you get riding a horse.
Yeah.
And you can see videos, how many videos of young horses that actually turned out to be superstars. There are videos of them where you would really probably never buy them. You really have to look outside the box. So it's definitely the feeling that you get on most of these horses.
Well, Jessica Mendoza, heat off the night, has had a good feeling off this horse already. He was competing this horse in the U25s down in Wellington earlier this year as well. Another one that's been a very good horse for her. Won a lot of national classes too. She had a very good run in Lexington too recently at the Split Rock shows there. In fact, won the Grand Prix there last season. Jessica, the British rider, now really basically based here in the US in Wellington, Florida.
Yeah, she's doing. Jess is doing a great job. She has. Matured the past couple years, and she has a great business, and is she's been a good friend of mine for a long time. It's nice to see the development like that.
She's come over and put you under a bit of pressure.
Exactly.
Kelly Orani now, and is going to be our next Valmont du Vizy. Kelly with the horse owned by the Marigot Bay Farm LLC of Lexington, Kentucky, the gelding by Zandor Z. Kelly, another of those that's come through the U25 series earlier on this season as well. Let's remind you, it's Rodrigo Lamre leading this two-phase competition at the moment. NetJets large tour, part of the two-star competitions here this week. We'll bring you a two-star class today, tomorrow, and the Grand Prix on Sunday. And of course, you can follow the live stream throughout. And also the five-star classes coming up over the next few days as well. They get underway in earnest tomorrow. But also a few of the two-star classes to come later on into the day here too, into the different sections, 125, 115, and you can follow that on the streaming too. But on Saturday as well, you can join in Saturday evening, 6 o'clock, and watch the first Major League jumping team competition as well. And then Sunday, as I say, we'll bring you the two-star and the five-star Grand Prix, and I think we've got a five-star class in the morning to bring you. But there we go, nice cruise round for her, but 47 seconds.
Kelly rides with Shane of Sweet Oak, and he has a fantastic business. All of his clients ride very well, and he just has a fantastic business.
And Kelly moves and makes way for two actually big professionals coming up in just a moment. Margie Engel and then Shane Sweetnam, as we've just mentioned. Margie with Virginia Bartolome's Cessna M. This gelding by check-in for Margie, of course, who's been with us last week as part of the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival. A little stint here in the spring before heading over into Europe and competing on the shows like the Global Champions Tour there. And two-time Grand Prix winner here last season as well, and has developed nicely with this horse too. Cessna, now a 9-year-old, was competing here as a young horse last year as an 8-year-old too, and again this has been a good ring this ring and the next ring to it for good experience, because they've got 2 arenas here, and actually they don't look vastly different.
No, they don't. You know, like I said, this is nice. This is Margie, one of the most accomplished riders in the world, and it's great for somebody like Kelly and Teddy Pritzker and Ashley that they can compete with, a legend like Margie. So it's Margie, like you said, it's a 9-year-old. It's good. It's developing the horse. It's probably not quite ready for the 5-star. So that's what's it's great about having these 5 and 2 stars where you can produce your other horses. Margie, she's a character. She's one of a kind.
Margie and Sam Walker you can also catch on the Major League Show Jumping podcast this week as well. If you head over to the Major League website, where you can hear that. Also, I think also on Horse Network. Margie, again, this is a good opportunity here, as you say, with a horse like this, to just give them a good spin around and just put a little bit of pressure on in the jump off.
Exactly. And this, you see, this horse is wearing a face mask there. You see a lot of people using that now for horses that are a little bit nervous. It's supposed to calm them. I think similar to like some dogs have these blank, you know what I mean? But typically you see one like that as a little bit more of just a hot or a nervous horse.
Yeah. Well, just that final fence there going for Margie Goldstein-Engel, as you say, nice developing combination that have come through. Good opportunity there for them. Just finishing on the 4 with Cessna M, but a nice one that's developed through here in Traverse City. Shane Sweetnam now. We mentioned him enough times, now we might as well see him in action. The Sweet Oak Farms Birdie Dutho, the mare by Magic Dell. Now a 10-year-old for Shane, and another horse that we've seen a bit more of being tested out this season.
I think it's a nice horse. Like you said, it's 10 this year. I quite like it. I saw it a little bit this winter and followed it more when we were in Kentucky.
Yeah, it's one that was finishing top 5s in Kentucky a few weeks ago as well. Shane, who had a very good run here in the last few weeks, including a win. In fact, was ridden last year by Elizabeth Baker of Great Britain.
Shane's very good at picking out the right horses for himself and his clients. It's when you're buying horses, it's like a marriage, and not everybody suits everybody. So you could have the best horse and the combination not work, so that's where he's very good about finding the best horses for himself and for his clients as well.
Now goes on to the jump off, as you say, that little skinny just set them back to start with the captive 1 fence, and now is he? Yeah, he's going to carry on. Going to have a nice cruise around with this horse. As I say, hasn't done too much with it. It's interesting to see was one that he jumped in the 3-star in Wellington back in April, that first time out, and actually since then they've been pretty well top 10 all the way through.
And some horses, this horse I think will get better the more that it jumps as the week goes on. It's 10, but it's still a little bit green, so that's why he kept going, because the horse started to even loosen up and jump better, jump the last combination very well. You just have to know your horses, and some horses need more jumps, so that's why even though you're doing this as a training class, you go and you catch those extra 4 or 5 jumps.
Well, there's Shane Sweetnam heading on out. Let's remind you at the moment, and let's look at the scores, because Shane Sweetnam not too far off with that one, goes into 2nd place at the moment. And Nico Ritter, Nico riding for Sin Osby of Woodside, California. This is Kidamo 10. To the Carl Cook stable, the gelding by Kidam de Revel.
I imagine if Nico makes the speed, he'll he'll try to go after it a little bit.
Yeah, what's he rode really last season in the international classes? That was in Columbus and in the 2 stars in Wellington as well.
He does the 8 there. So it looks like he's just saving for...
Yeah. Just can have a nice quiet run round. You say pop round number 9, just sets you up and then say thank you very much. Rodrigo Lamre leading the way so far on the early double clear at this moment, 33.09. Number electing not to go through. Shane Sweetener, by the way, just had that one time fault, 44.12, puts him in second at the moment. And Christian van der Veen with the 1 fence down in third at this stage of this NetJets Large Tour 140 here this afternoon. Just making his way down is Cormac Hanley. Casper's Lucino for the Market Street Incorporated. Cormac, who had a fantastic run on the first week here as well, with string of wins. As he reminded me, I missed off his Hunter wins as well, so apologies, Cormac. He got those together too. I think it was 7 wins that week.
Oh, he had a big week there.
Yeah.
Cormac, he's had a good spring and into the summer. He's working for Ken and Emily Smith, Ashland, and they have a great group of horses. And this horse was a former rider, Devin Ryan.
Yeah.
Devin had very nice success on it. I think he won a couple nice Grand Prix, and Cormac has just started riding it, I'd say, in the past 6 weeks.
Yeah, last week was the first of the international classes that they'd done together. As you say, Devin Ryan put some nice wins together. In fact, was 5-star winner at the Nations Cup show at Deerage in Wellington in Florida before now as well. Horse that started out in Germany. But very quickly getting a good tune together with Cormac. Cormac, as I say, was a winner with us back just last week as well with the international classes with RMF Chaco Top.
And this is, as you said, owned by Market Street, which is Ann Krasinski, who is like Margie there, is a legend for America. And so it's nice for Cormac to have, a good group of owners. And as you said, Cormac, he's hungry now. He won a lot last week, so I imagine if he makes the second round, he's
once you've got the taste for it, you're on good form.
Exactly.
But unfortunately just has that fence down and carries on to 9, but both of those down. Just finishing on the 4:47.84 there for Cormac Hanley and Casper Lacino. But again, seems to have got a pretty good, quick handle on that horse.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'll be a pair to watch.
Top few at the moment being Rodrigo Lamre, Shane Sweetenham, Christian van der Veen, Cormac Hanley, and making way for Erin Ballard, which continues our good set of riders that we've got here this week. Elanferder's Cigar de Revelange, the mare by Quattro de Revelange for the Canadian rider, who's been a championship rider for Canada. Multiple 5-star wins as well, notably down in Florida too. And has to be one of the best riders for being able to just get up on a horse and get a tune very quickly and get a partnership very quickly.
She can. She rides for Elon Ferder, and Elon sells a lot of horses, and when you ride for a dealing barn like that sells a lot, you better be able to ride a lot of different type of horses, and she's fantastic at that. She can just get right on and go to work. Really jumped well through there.
Cruises on. Nine-year-old Saint-Français mare that was originally, up to now, ridden out in Europe with Brazilian rider Monica Guillon. And she is cruising. First international show together. Rodrigo Lamre's time 33.09.
Jumped really well through there.
Looking good so far. Not going to be too far away. May just be a little bit behind our leader. 34.28 for Erin Ballard, for her to go into second place so far. So Erin dropping into second with Cigada Revelange.
That was a good round for that horse, you know, it just being 9 years old, to come in there and just a nice confident round going forward. It jumped very well.
So good combination together. Monica Guillon, of course, with Olivier Guillon of France. He's been a top Nations Cup rider, and they started the horse out. And we move on to Martin van der Heeven now. And this is going to be Maurice Horter, the gelding by Eldorado van der Zusuk for Martin.
Eldorado's really, you know, produced a lot of very good horses. Usually very scopy. Killer Queen of Daniel Doiser.
Which did so well in America this year as well.
Exactly. My old horse, I had Jolly Jumper that one of my students rides now, also Eldorado. They're just, you know, big, scopy, hardy horses. Marty runs a fantastic business. He's based out of Texas, is just building a farm there now. You know, it's turned into a fantastic show here, where you have the same people that have always been coming here.
Yeah.
Now, you know, when it was just even national and all that, Scott Langhart and Martine van der Hoven, and then now, so it's great. It's great to be able to have a mixed bag of, you know, different people.
And that's the thing. It's become, you know, they were finished on the 4:46.81 for Martin van der Heeven and Maurice Horter. But again, it's not a secret anymore. But it's because it's moved up in grade so much. The surfaces, I mean, everything's changed. A lot has changed since last year as well. Lots planned in for next year too. As the development of the showground, they can see it happening very fast. And we've had a lot of new faces this year, which also has been great to see so many people walk in the door and go, "Oh, okay, this is serious."
It's like any sport. You have to improve with the times, and that's what's so great about this is they really have. And one thing is very nice. It's actually very accommodating to the hunters, to the equitation, to the ponies. It's not just, you know, 5-star and 2-star riders. It's a show for everybody.
Yeah.
Which
we even have lead line.
Exactly. It's a tough lead line there. Like
it is.
Last week at Andrew Wells and the Morrisseys, it was, I wouldn't have.
I had to judge it.
Oh, that was a lot of stress there.
Laura Ditalo, Zero Gravity, and the gelding by Verdi. I was going to be kicked into space if I didn't get the right decision last week.
Big scopy horse here. Lauren's had it for a couple years. And she's just going to call it a day before the Liverpool.
Yeah, just putting up. Hand goes up there, deciding to retire, as you say, after the first phase there for Laurent Ditalo and Zero Gravity. Rodrigo Lamre still leading with Bacogan de Saint-Jean, as they sit in 33.09, leading the way at the moment. And Jonathan Miller, Perth, Ontario, the Isotropic Networks, Isotropic Shadow, the gelding by Quintender. For Jonathan, the Canadian, who's been a Nations Cup rider for Canada before now as well. As you say, would be possibly a rider that would normally you would see at Spruce Meadows too, but also now has been to Traverse City a few times, and it'll be looking forward many to next season where everyone can dot back among their favourite venues exactly as they'd like.
Exactly. Jonathan, a very tall rider, just like his father. I believe he just won the meter 35 in the other ring earlier. So
okay.
He looked pretty hungry to win that, so maybe he's gonna
have a spin here.
Go here.
There we go, goes clear. So no, he's speeding past with a hand in the air. So he says, hailing his taxi and saying, "I'm out, done. Thank you very much." 2064, as you can see on the order there. Jonathan Miller, nice clear in the first phase, but deciding they will call that a day. So from Jonathan Miller, moving on to where are we going now? Molly Ash Corley. Molly Ash also part of the Major League Show Jumping 2. The Lewisburg Farm of Boston, Massachusetts. Cappuccino, gelding by Comme Il Faut. Seeing we saw one last week. We've seen a couple of Comme Il Fauts now coming out.
Funny, I was about to bring up Comme Il Faut. he was such a small horse.
Yeah.
But he was. They said he was the last foal out of the Great Retina.
Yes.
And he breeds a lot of her breeding, you know, bigger horses. And I was just thinking, I remember I was with you in Vienna about 5 years ago, and I was going in the jump off of one of the Global Grand Prix, and I thought I had one down. I thought I was really fast. And I was like, man, that was good. I was really fast. And then Marcus goes on Comme Il Faut after me, and I think was like 5 seconds faster. And I just was like, well, all right.
Different game.
Different game. He was so much fun to watch, that horse. He was, you know, and Marcus is one of the greatest riders to watch as well. But the two of them, there was one Grand Prix in Verona one year he won, and there was this inside turn, and it was just unbelievable to watch. But that was, you know, an amazing horse.
Well, unfortunately, just the last fence there. So finish on the 4:48:36. Therefore, in phase one for Molly Ash Corley and Cappuccino. But as we say, has good credentials for the next generation of horses there. Cappuccino, 9-year-old combination for Molly. Tanner Korotkin now for the Triple S Group. Volos Diamonds, based down in Wellington, Florida also. The gelding by Stackatol, also been riding under the tutelage of Shane Sweetnam too. Leading the way so far, Rodrigo Lamry still. Erin Ballard in second. Shane Sweetnam, as mentioned, is in third.
Tanner's really riding very well the past couple years. His first horse was my first Grand Prix horse. I think he did him. Telling my age right now. I think he did him in.
It's not too bad. He's quite young.
He did him in the Children's Hunters, but that was, you know, kind of one of the first horses.
Which horse was that?
Actually, you know what? It wasn't Tanner. It was Bobby Kraut. It wasn't him. So okay, I'm feeling better there. That was that was a horse I got from Kevin Babington.
Oh, there we go. Tanner, who was top 10 down in Lexington recently. Also, I don't know whether you saw him through the winter, got a very good rapport with the former ride of Laura Crouch in Deauville.
Absolutely. He was doing it was back jumping a 130 on it yesterday, so I'd say he's gearing up for the next couple weeks with that one.
Just finished on the 4 in the first round, 47-48, 4 there for Tanner Korotkin and Volos Diamonds. 10-year-old by Stackatol for Tanner. Daisy Farish, RMF Retro for the Rushy Marsh Farm, and the gelding by Cicero, and the rider from Versailles, Kentucky.
It's funny, some of these stallions, how Cicero was gray himself, and almost every one of them you see is gray.
Yep.
Whereas I know we saw a Cardinto earlier, and that one was gray, but there's a lot of Cardintos, and he was gray himself. There's a lot of bay Cardintos, so it's funny, you know, some of these breeding, but a lot of times they stamp them, you know.
Yeah.
There's a certain type in Cicero. This is kind of a typical Cicero type.
Daisy, who had her first Grand Prix win, International Grand Prix win with us last year here in Traverse City. Bearing in mind she's still just 21 years of age.
So Daisy also works with Ken and Emily, and
Yep.
I think she'd maybe want to take one of those blues away from Cormac. He didn't get a chance to do it, so let's see if she.
Not this time, I'm afraid. We'll finish on the 4 faults there coming out of the first phase on the 4. 47.26 for Daisy Farish and RMF Retro, part of the Rushy Marsh Farm group of horses. Sean Cassidy now. Neil Jones's Haroon, the gelding by Zambezi. Sean has been riding very successfully a number of horses for Neil now. Been really competing over in California for much of the winter.
Sean's a good friend of mine. He actually came and worked for me last summer in Florida. I broke my foot the November, previous to that, and so he came and rode some horses for me, and he did a fantastic job with young horses and a couple of my Grand Prix horses, and just really a cool, very nice guy. Oh, Alan just texted me. He was listening. Tanner rode it as well. I thought he did.
Oh, he did. There
Bobby
you go.
And Tanner. Yeah.
You weren't completely off the mark.
Exactly. I thought that. I was like, am I forgetting? Both of them rode it. Sean's just a very, very cool guy. He's doesn't get too worked up. He's pretty relaxed. Can ride any type of horse. He needs a haircut.
I think if that's the worst of his problems, especially over the last 12 months. That's not been a big one. Stuart Harvey, who rode this horse originally back as a young horse back in Great Britain. Nicholas Toro of Columbia. After that, on this 9-year-old with Sean. Goes on to the second phase. It's nice we're getting a live fact check anyway.
Exactly.
Sean coming up nicely, takes a nice tight line up to the Major League fence. Now, double clear to go top 3. Will be a little bit back from the time of Erin Ballard, but a nice round nonetheless for Sean Cassidy and Haroon. 36.83 drops them into 3rd place at the moment. Rodrigo Lamre leading, Erin Ballard 2nd. I'd say first sort of dip of the toes for this pair into some of the international classes for the 9-year-old gelding by Zambezi. Cara Thakeri now, Trelawney Farm of Bedford, New York's Fabulous, the gelding by Cornet Obolensky. I mentioned her a little bit earlier on with Emma Marlowe riding horses too for the Trelawney Farm.
Have you done the Windsor show before? Did you used to do that?
I was there.
Oh, did you do it?
I
this
went
year?
back.
Okay, yeah. That was a fantastic jump off with Explosion, wasn't it? The whole, I mean. And that show, it looks quite nice, huh?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
The backdrop, they put a bit of effort into it.
Exactly. Did you get to meet the Queen? Did you?
I was pretty close, put it that way, yes. We were doing a few sort of tributes, etc. So, yes, I was very lucky. Very lucky. No, I skipped from here back and very lucky to be able to come back again. And the good news is you get me for this week and then I go off to Tokyo, so that's me out for a little bit as well. But Carla, Fabli's lovely combination together, also competed down in Florida.
This is another one by the great Cornet. It gets interesting when these stallions get to a certain age, then they have, you know, their grandsires, right? So there's a lot of younger stallions by Cornet Oblitsky that are producing quite well now, and then, you know, him as well.
Cruising around nicely so far. Let's say double clear to get into the top 4-5 at the moment. And Cara with a good round put together. Fabulous finish. And it is going to be 36.84, and they go clear as well. Drops them into 4th place at the moment. So Marionati now, Walter White, Mexican rider. Horse has been competing down in Mexico for the last few weeks as well. And was actually the former rider of Paris Ceylon, the US rider. And with Rodrigo Lamre briefly, of course, Rodrigo riding a number of horses owned by Mario Nate as well. That came from France through much of its early career. Top few, Rodrigo Lamre. It is Erin Ballard, Sean Cassidy, Carl Raithkerry and Shane Sweetnam as our leading group at the moment. Rodrigo, in fact, leading on the horse owned by Mario Nate. Final fence in the first phase. May just be a little steady. No, they're okay, just okay for time, I think. Yeah, 54.86. Just going to leave them with one time fault, though, unfortunately. So that's just a little bit tight for them in the first round. Just finishes on one time.
Nice round there.
Yeah. Where are we headed now? Matthew Bonney, Purple Road LLC's Balotelli 5. The gelding by Balou de Roy was into the lineup in our Grand Prix here last week as well.
He's had some good results on this horse the past couple months.
Yeah, really moved it into the international classes back in Wellington in Florida. Owned by Georgina Bloomberg. She was excitedly watching on the sidelines as this went to win. She had a decent enough week for her as well. She'll be back competing here this week too. But it's a lovely little horse that tries.
It is, it is. It sure does try. Matt's a very nice guy. He's, you know, does a good job there with Georgina and Jimmy. You know, I'd say after jumping last week, I don't really think he was going in to try to compete in this class. So I don't think he'll be so upset with that, really. I think he's just trying to level the horse out, have a nice smooth round, and look towards later in the week.
Yeah, finished in the three-star Grand Prix, 6th here last week. Remember, behind Carl Cook, who won his 2nd Grand Prix in 2 shows here in Traverse City. He won either side of the break. Just cruises around there for the 4:54.75. That picks up just one time with a time allowed at 53 for the first round. But you say not one that needs to go to the races in this class, because they'll save a little bit for later.
No, exactly. This horse Rodrigo is riding it's by Thunder. Thunder is the sire of Azure of McLean, and I had a very good mare that I sold as a 9-year-old to Andrew Wells, and that was Thunder as well.
Yeah.
And then she was a great horse for him, and we retired her, and we've been breeding to her a little bit. So
which one was that? Just
Boo Van Het was her name.
Okay.
And he jumped some big classes on her, and she was just a great mare. So it's fun for us. We have a foal by Dolphin de Bishop.
Yeah.
Out of that mare. All of the Thunders are, you know, they have their own style up front. They're very scopy. They're nice types.
Well, just drops a pole there for Jador Van Het. Klinkoff, Rodrigo Lamre, of course, leading, as I mentioned earlier on. Of course, they actually won a big class down in Monterrey in Mexico back in April. That's going to be one of the stages of the Major League show jumping as well. On a total of 8 there, 49.27. But again, you know, a couple of small mistakes there. But I mean, this is the class to do it in. One hates to say.
Exactly. You know, some horses I haven't gotten to speak with Rodrigo much here, but some horses too. Maybe the horse has had a little break or had, you know, is back going. It takes a couple classes.
I was just about to say, I mean, last time they jumped internationally was April.
Exactly. So I mean, you can't be discouraged. There's a lot of top horses that they need a couple classes, just like us as riders. If you haven't done anything for a while, I didn't ride a lot this winter. At the end of the winter, I was showing a little bit, and I had Marcus Beerbaum help me a little bit, and I was just so rusty, and I needed somebody to ride me, and you know, to just to get after my riding a little bit, and then like that, you know. So it's the same thing with these horses. They have a little break. Sometimes some horses come great off a break, and other ones they need a couple classes.
Gabriel Reuter now of Chile. The Lumiere horses, Mahari's Rock, another one that was going well down in Florida earlier on this year. Nice partnership together. It's been put together quite some time now.
And that's what's so difficult with you know, as you said, Tokyo's coming up, and it's pointing horses for the right day and the right, you know, it's hard if you peak too early, and you might be coming down a little bit, or if you're not quite ready. So that's big, you know, part of it. And every horse is different. You can't have one program for the same horse. So you have to know some horses need to show a week before they're ready, and other ones can come in and be fresh. And this horse is by OBOS Quality, which stands in Ireland now. Has bred some very good horses. Mark Hugh of Kevin Babington's was by that, and Andrew Barnes had a good one. There's some good horses by that stallion.
Gabriel Reuter with wins behind it with Atticus Diamant. Several of those down in Wellington, Florida, in the 2 stars back in March of this year.
Stephen, as much fun as I'm having, I have to do a little bit of work now.
Yeah, I'm going to let you, Carol, do some work. I'm going to let you. Thank you, hon.
Thank you.
See you in a little bit.
Bye.
And Gabriel Reuter coming home on the clear, goes into 3rd place there, and 34.93. And there she drops into 3rd behind Erin Ballard and Rodrigo Lamre. Brazil, Canada, Chile, the top 3 so far in our class. The NetJets Large Tour 142 phase here this morning. Caitlin Campbell to return now. 2nd ride for Caitlin. Mascot Van de Wittehuwe, and this is going to be owned by the SWS Training and Sales of Temecula, California. Chestnut gelding by Enrico Van de Wittehuwe. As I say, already the first ride of Caitlin's taken into account. Jump round for just the 4 faults. It's another combination that jumped here last week. And as I mentioned, she's also going to be an exciting one to watch, part of the Major League show jumping, coming here with a string of horses. And little change around in a couple of those. This horse competing here last week as well. Heading towards the halfway stage of this class, Rodrigo Lamre leading. Caitlin Campbell just putting a little bit of pace on it up to the Major League fence. Just taking on that vertical, then a nice curve back here to the edge of the arena to the double. Pinecone vertical on the way in, Oxer on the way out. And then Cabana Coast, another of our sponsors with the Major League, to finish off 36.24, and we'll put her into 4th place. It is Rodrigo Lamre leading, and Caitlin Campbell there going into 4th. Gabriela Reuter we just saw going into 3rd. Erin Ballard in 2nd. Natalie Dean now, Camilla D for the Marigold Sport Horses by Kashmir van Schuterhof, the 10-year-old mare. Natalie also going to be a part of the teams. So that's going to be Saturday evening, 6 o'clock here local time. Tune in from 5:40 for the broadcast. All of that build up to that as well. She's been a very new ride for her, former ride of Erin Ballard through much of this year. Natalie just jumping this horse in trial a couple of weeks ago. Now moves on to that second phase. Sun comes out. Now just taking a wider line into this double, not chasing the leading time, but again putting a nice round together. Haven't done too much together. It's a good opportunity for them. I think just drops off that back bar of that Oxer over there, and we'll get home in 38.05. So just finishing on the 4. And there it's confirmed, 38.05. So just drops them into 10th place there for Natalie Dean and Camilla D. Kristen van der Veen, second ride now, Boren Zagape. Kristen based down in Wellington, Florida. As I say, we've already seen her round on her first. Laval, the sire of this Holsteiner Bay. So we come up to our 31st in the order out of our 60 or so to go in this NetJets large tour 2-star class. Nice little cherry vertical to start them off before the Maya Oxer. 140, 150 spreads on the fences here today. Opening class of the 2-star. Now we saw Kristen fly around a little bit earlier on, faster time than any we've seen so far, by about 5 seconds, but unfortunately had a fence down on the way. And we're not going to get treated to the same kind of spin again, unfortunately. Just clips the NetJets double there. And a little firmer on the last fence too. So a total of 8, 48, 18. 8 there for Kristen van der Veen, Boren Zagape. And so Kristen van der Veen just finishing on the 8 faults there in that first phase. I think we're going to take a little breather for a moment as we hit the halfway stage of this $5,000 NetJets competition. As you can see, there's the scoreboard. Rodrigo Lamre leads the way so far. Bakogan de Saint-Jean to head the field, clear on 33.09. Erin Ballard at Segal de Revelance. Gabriela Reuter, Mahari's Rock, fourth to Caitlin Campbell so far. Mascot VD. Sean Cassidy, Haroon in fifth. And top 6 so far, Cara Carey and Fabulous also on the clear to finish in 6th place at this time. We take a breather for a moment. Back in a few minutes. Second half of the NetJets Large Tour.
All right, we're about ready to kick it back off here. Thanks again to NetJets, an official sponsor here, the worldwide leader in private aviation, offering seamless travel options to athletes and attendees each and every year at our Traverse City events. And, of course, elsewhere throughout the world. We're about to resume with a target time on the board of 33.09. Again, Rodrigo Lambre, the first one to find his way to the finish without fault. He represents Brazil, leading the way at this point as we're halfway through this NetJets large tour meter 42 phase competition. Riders out of the amateur ranks are coming down, including Ashley Vogel next, and she was a winner in a speed event a couple of weeks back in Lexington, Kentucky. She's also been regularly in the Classic ribbons, Wellington and Lexington earlier this season, and in the National and International Grand Prix ranks. And she'll come to us on her next entry, Lucy in the Sky, as we come out of the break. Entry out of Milton, Wisconsin, and a 12-year-old daymare by Tornish, number 723. Having won
in Traverse City, part of the first week of Major League show jumping, and already we see a leading combination, Rodrigo Lambre, halfway through this class. You can see the numbers down there, 33 out of 64. That's what that is on that graphic there that you see. And Ashley Vogel comes back with a second ride. Quite a few onto their second rides now. Ashley with Lucy in the Sky, the mare by Tornesh. Again for her, as one that's just really started going internationally for her. Jumped in the 3-star classes in Lexington a few weeks ago. And into this 2-phase competition. Many just using it also as a good pipe opener for getting into the week. Hardin Towel has headed off to do manual labour, and Michael Morrissey Jr. is alongside me as well now. He's popping in for a little bit between engagements. Michael, good to have, we talked about with Hardin, but good to have the 2 and 5 stars here, and for you and for Hardin Ferries, as the developing horses, this is a very good opportunity.
Yeah, it's great. You have the 5-star, you have the top class of horse and riders, and you also have the ability to maybe take a younger horse or a younger rider in the 2-star. There's a lot of options, and it's great for us to have those options.
Class like this, it's a real just sort of step into the week for a number. We've seen Rodrigo Lambre, Erin Ballard and Gabriel Reuter, our top 3 so far, just move up nicely to get into the lead at the moment. This 2-phase, this coming into the last fence on phase 1. Time is all okay. It looks like she's going to really take a spin at this.
Yeah, you can see she's being a little aggressive there from 8 to 9, picking up the speed, really galloping over to this green oxer on the outside. Ashley had a great round in the Grand Prix last week with just 1 down in the 3-star. A super round.
Major League fence, then back to the double, and then finally the Cabana Coast vertical to finish off.
She's really giving it a go.
Yep, leading time 33.09. She should be ahead here. She should go into the lead, and there we go, 28.70. Going clear, new leader, Ashley Vogel, Lucy in the Sky. Good way to get us back into the second half. She was obviously waiting for you, Michael.
that was a super round. I haven't seen too many go, but that was quick. Looks like she was 5 seconds faster than Rodrigo in second place right now. So, yeah, super competitive round.
Well, nicely done. Ashley Vogel just touches a hat on the way over the fence as well, and still leaves them all up. It is on to a second ride now of Teddy Pritzker of Chicago, the Evergreen Stables Dual LVP, the mare by Berlin for Teddy. Again, say second shot for her. Was ran for just the 4 faults into the second phase a little bit earlier on. That was with Katunji. Training, as we mentioned, with Andrew Wells. He was just down there, just on the edge of the ring watching. Final instructions for this combination that jumped with us last year as well, here in Traverse City. Done quite a lot nationally here last year, not done too much of the international competitions, but now moving up. Of course, this height looking at 140, 150 spreads on the course here.
Andrew Wells currently trains Teddy. He's done a great job getting her up into these bigger classes. She's got a good string of horses, very competitive rider.
Another horse that spent a brief time with Erin Ballard was with Mackenzie Ray of Canada before that, before starting its career out in Norway. Now she goes through to that second phase again this time. Of course, she went through with Katunji a little bit earlier on. Nice little tuck-up turn.
Unfortunately, the Major League show jumping vertical comes down. See, she takes her time, goes a little bit wider after she has the rail to the next combination.
Just the last fence coming up for her. Again, not too far away, just going to finish on the 4 faults. 37.14 goes into 8th place, in fact, so far for Teddy Pritzker and Dual LVP.
Yeah, I think that was a super round. Teddy should be happy with that. I think she's moving up the ranks, getting up into these bigger classes. Probably one of her first time showing 2-star competition. So, yeah, I think super round.
Nicolette Hurt now, the Iron Horse Equestrians CSI2 the mare by Livello. Nicolette with a bit more experience in these level of competitions so far. So leader, let's remind you, Ashley Vogel, 28.70 as it stands at the moment. Nicolette Hurt, another of those that came through the U25 classes very well, and this season, well, competing in those back in the early part of the year with this ride, but also doing more than 3 stars in Traverse City in Tryon in recent weeks before heading here to Traverse City.
Early rail comes down at fence 2, the front rail of the Meyer Oxer.
Just on the 4 then in this first phase.
There's the 6th stride coming into the NetJets combination. 1 fence to go in the first phase.
Yep, there we go, just finishing on the 4, so Bell will go 46.96 for Nicolette Hurt and SIC Larissa, and just returning to the ring after competing in the U25s in Florida earlier on this year. So on to another of those. We mentioned a good mix of riders in here, some of the younger horses coming through with some experienced riders. Good opportunity for some younger riders too. Emma Marlowe onto her second ride. The Wellington-based rider again riding for the Trelawney Farm of New York, this time Style Hall by Balubé de Rouet. Again, one also in the mix down in Florida this year. Style Hall and Emma being a longer partnership now. Based out of the Trelawney farm. Also competed in these U25s. So jumping Cherokee in Kentucky recently. Hasn't jumped internationally since April.
Horse has a little bit of feistiness to him in the air. You see a little extra kick. Has a nice balance. A lot of blood. Looks like a fun horse to ride.
Yeah. There's the spark.
No, there's a bit of a spark. I like it.
Now coming in on that first phase. Clear on that, so she goes straight on. Ashley Vogel setting that very good time so far.
Emma's giving it a little bit of a run. Gallops down to the Major League vertical.
And again, just want to give yourself some space coming into this double.
Great ride there, 1 to go.
This could be one to go top 5. Nicely done so far from Emma Marlowe. Style Hall will complete on a clear 33.95 to drop into 3rd place so far.
Yeah, I thought that was a super competitive round. Really gave it a good gallop to the last jump. Gave it a shot and a nice clear round to go in the 3rd place.
Yep, top 3 for her. It's Rodrigo Lamre in 2nd. It is Ashley Vogel leading the way so far. Emma, another of those riders in her early 20s, getting good experience here. Lorcan Gallagher getting experience with a horse that he rode in the last couple of weeks here in Traverse City. Not done too much with though. Siegfried 68 by Staccato Gold for the High Point Farm. Lorcan, the Irish rider who's ridden right the way through to Nations Cup teams for Ireland. Long time being based here in the US now.
Lorcan's a busy rider this week. I think he said he had 14 horses showing yesterday.
Lorcan, one of a run of Irish riders set to come in this class. Pretty good so far, as I say. He was also one that has gone into the bigger classes, the Welcome Stakes and so far in the last few weeks with a bit more confidence. Now clear and on to the 2nd round, on to the phase 2. Little skinny just put in there, just cuts inside back to this Oxer.
This horse seems to be naturally quick across the ground. You see Lorcan's not hustling it too much. Looks like he's just going for a nice, speedy, efficient, clear round.
Yeah.
Little rub coming into the double, but stays up with 1 to go.
Just the last, and we'll finish on a clear as well. 35.20. Nice round put behind them. Goes into 6th place there for Lorcan Gallagher and Siegfried 68.
Yeah, very solid round. I think he was able to be quick and be in the top 6 without even really asking the horse to go too much. I'm sure he has quite a few more classes to go this week, and is finishing on a positive, speedy note there.
And staying with the Irish as we go on to Mark Kinsella in just a moment. Lorcan Gallagher there. It's good turn up as we saw across that Oxer, and gaining more and more confidence with the horses, just getting really to know over the last couple of weeks. Mark Kinsella of Ireland, and Viking de Lom is going to be the ride for the next to the Irish riders here. It's been a new ride for him as well, been the ride of Misty Cassar, who's also been in competition here this week. In fact, we're just moving on to James Brennan. In fact, Mark Kinsella moving down. James Brennan with the Crook Show Jumping's Milton. A 9-year-old, in fact, we saw it as an 8-year-old here last year by Emerald. Lauren Crooks in the saddle on that occasion. Now James, partner, taking over the ride here for this week.
Yeah, this horse really looked very nice as an 8-year-old last year. With Lauren in the saddle, James taking over now. Good looking horse, good technique. James is a great rider. See that 4-stride got quite short. Was able to fit it in, work it out. See, this horse is going in a hackamore. I think that's a new bit or decision for these guys.
Yeah. Now going on to phase 2. James not having jumped this horse at this level up to now.
Takes the inside track, going to this double. One jump to go.
And so it should leave them well in the money if he clears it. Yes, they do. So it leaves them on 33.92. Goes into third place there for James Brennan and Milton. Did it pretty easily.
Very easily and very smooth. He didn't even look like he was trying to go that fast, and had a very excellent time and getting in third place just ahead of Emma Marlowe. So yeah, excellent round for those two, you know, jumping one of their first bigger tracks together.
Leading the way so far, Ashley Vogel, 28.70. Rodrigo Lambre, second on 33.09. James Brennan there going into third. With Milton, second ride for Alexis Sokolov. Hot Horses LLC's Kana van der Blom. Again, we've seen this pair over the last couple of weeks that have come across from California. The mare by Kashmir van Schuterhof.
It's great to see we have a lot of Californians showing here in Traverse City this year. Made the hike across.
And already several of them made it very worthwhile. She's one of them, was placed 6th in the classes in the spring shows here back at the end of June with this horse. And also placed in the Grand Prix as well with Vassal de Seigneur that we saw a little bit earlier on.
Clear heading to the last jump in the first round, onto the speed phase.
Yeah, a little touch of that last fence now. She can start to move it up, as I say. They've gained confidence over the last couple of weeks. We've gone very well nationally too. She's not going to go chasing, but going to put a nice round together. Just a nice little turn in here.
Opts to take the around option going into this last combination.
And heading for home, just the Cabana Coast vertical, clears that okay. A little steadier on the time at 40.43, and so that means they go into 11th place. But again, Michael, I mean, two nice rounds put together.
Yeah, solid round. I'm sure she's gearing up for the big 2-star Grand Prix this weekend and use this a bit as a training to keep going. But yeah, super solid effort for both horse and rider. 2 solid rounds there.
And we will then move around, because actually this is now where we go to Mark Kinsella. As I say, was due to go a little bit earlier on. Riding for Alberto Torres of California. This is Viking the Lam. And this has been ride 2 of Misty Cassar for the US, who comes up later on into this class as well. Also came out of Europe from France and Spain. Second ride for Mark in this class as well. Mark just taking things quietly as they can in the first phase.
Quite a big horse, I would see.
Yeah.
He's going to probably try and look for a slower distance here. Then this 4 will be quite steady for him. Yep. We got a forward 6 to the combination here. No problem for this big horse. One jump more in the power phase before the speed. Good gallop to the skinny, fence number 9. He's taking a shot at it.
Yeah.
Inside track to this last double.
Not going to be too far away. Chasing to the last, may just be a little behind Ashley Vogel, but a good round nonetheless. 29.51 Mark Kinsella there of Islands. Viking de Lum will go into second place so far. Good cut inside here.
Yeah, great cut inside. He was neat and efficient everywhere. Good gallop to the last. That's a great round going into second place.
Drops him into second, still leaves Ashley Vogel ahead of the field so far. And it moves us on to Clee Hellerman now. Baby Comeback. The mare by Corrafino. Get a new ride for her into this level for the Trefoil Farm of Norfolk, Connecticut. Mare by Corrafino, Saint-Francais 10-year-old. Ashley Vogel, Mark Kinsella and Rodrigo Lamry. Top 3 so far. Now on this 10-year-old that some of you will have seen earlier on this year with Yuri Mansour of Brazil.
That's it. I was wondering. Now I remember. Little rub at fence 3, but stays up. Short 4 just got a little bit caught up there. Had that fence number 5 down. (7A) also coming down as we head to the last jump in the power phase.
Yeah, last fence as well adds them up to a score of 12.47.68. But as I said, a very new combination there.
Yep, probably just learning each other a bit and getting the experience here at the 2-star level at the Traverse City Horse Shows.
Well, good chance for them over the next couple of weeks with plenty of classes for them. And heading out on the 12 this time for Clee Hellerman and Baby Come. They're based here in the US now with Dublin. Grand Prix winner last year in Kentucky as well, amongst other successes.
These two are very speedy, so if they get to the speed phase and want to be competitive in it, they certainly have a chance.
Yeah.
Very quick combination.
Finished second in a good Grand Prix in, say, difficult pairing to beat if they're in the mix. Also won the 2-star Grand Prix in Ohio last season as well.
Looks like she's jumped fence number 9 to decided to call it a day, save it for these bigger classes coming up later in the week.
Yep, one that went very well here, as I say, in the last couple of weeks. So one to just save the fuel for later, and so decided to retire there, Bonnie Kusler and Billy Mexico. Chandler Meadows, another from California, from Newport Beach. Easy Boy, the gelding by Tangelo van de Zoetova. And for Chana, also going to be a part of Major League Show Jumping. She's on the for Chana, also going to be a part of Major League Show Jumping. She's on the Blazing Sevens team alongside trainer Lauren Huff. And going to be an exciting one to watch. She, I think, gets an outing this week as part of the teams. Of course, there's groups of riders here that are part of the teams. There's up to 6 riders on a team. Some will come out this week. Some will be maybe a different configuration for next week.
A little bit of strategy involved, I'm sure, for every team. As much as they pick each rider and the amount of riders they want per week at the show, sometimes one rider may or may not compete that given week in the Major League.
Yep, just playing the strategy meeting with the team managers to go through everything this morning. And all set to go. Chandler again on this, what has been a newer combination for her, has jumped out in Belgium and France until the tail end of last year. Now again, just moves up a gear coming into that second phase. Give themselves a little bit of space though to make the turn over the Oxer and curve back to this Major League vertical. And we'll see whether they go on. They're going on the outside track.
Yeah, using the speed round is maybe more of a training aid.
Getting set to come home with the just the last fence down, and it is going to be 38.41. Just leaves them on the 4 for Chandler Meadows. Good turn in here, and then just final fence.
Just an unlucky rail coming down behind on the way down. Just nipped it a little bit. 4 faults at the last.
So they finish on the 4, leaves them unchanged with our top group. They go inside our top 20 though for Chandler Meadows. Maria Brugal, BG Stables of New York's J'adore Flamenco by Je T'aime Flamenco, which the stallion was ridden by Billy Toomey, and won a number of big classes, including I think they won the Grand Prix in Valencia on the Global Tour.
And Billy's an excellent rider.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Came across here 2 years ago to the US as well. Maria Brugal based in Wellington, Florida. Rides internationally. In fact, rode at the team events for the Youth Olympic Games in China back in 2014.
Four stride just got a bit too steady. Maybe got a little too close to that vertical, having it down. Just sitting with 4 faults at the moment.
Horses with Maria now came out of Ireland with Greg Broderick and Kelly Allen. And they're just finishing on the 8-falls. Again, not done too much together internationally. Competed in the U25s in Wellington this year. But really it's been the first half season competing on the international 2-star level. J'adore Flamenco finishing on the 8. Paul O'Shea. Paul, who's going to be part of the Eye Candy team for the Major League Show Jumping. And actually riding the Trelawney Farms Chancelloress. The mare by Chaco Blue.
Will be interesting to see what Paul does if he gets to the speed phase here. Very seasoned horse, very quick horse. If he uses this a little bit as a training aid for the weekend, or if we gives it a shot and tries to win this class.
horse that's been with him for the last few years, really through a large chunk of its international career. In fact, he's the only one to ride this horse internationally, been everywhere from Hickstead through to Dublin. And of course the stops off in the US from Wellington, Tryon. The list continues.
Looks to be jumping in top form.
We'll see whether they go chasing as well. Paul just got to steady back to this Skinny.
He's continuing on, but he's taking his time, using it more of a train aid. Horse is jumping very good today. Looks like he's maybe just working on the rideability for the two-star qualifier or Grand Prix this weekend.
And there we go. Just covers the last at 43.69. Going Clear goes into 13th place for Paul O'Shea this time, and Chancellor S. Charlie Jacobs next. Charlie from Boston, Massachusetts. The CMJ Sport Horses Corpegia, the mare by Conado, the first. Charlie also on the squads for Major League Jumping, but of course we saw him here last week as well. Placed with the likes of Gravenet. 47th of 64 in our class here this afternoon. Ashley Vogel, Mark Kinsella, Rodrigo Lambre, top three at this point. And again, Charlie last week with Gravenet stepping into the Grand Prix internationally for the first time with that horse. Few newer faces in his string at the moment.
Yeah, he had an excellent round on Sunday in the Grand Prix. Unfortunate 4 faults, but a newer mount of his. Looked like a promising horse for him in the future. Putting together a good round here so far in this power phase.
And again, a new horse for him. Came from Switzerland, in fact, from Simone Bruhofer. In fact, was being ridden there up until May of this year. And again, Charlie just taking things quietly, but again, as you know, it makes sense with a horse that he's not done much with.
Right, big week coming up this week with lots of classes. Looking to get that double clear round today. A little rub at the last jump, but stays up.
Yep, there we go. 43.07. Charlie Jacobs, Corpegia. Interesting. I mean, he's part of the teams, but he looks as though he's been strengthening the team over the winter. A few new faces.
Yeah, that's exciting. Exciting to have new horses and bring them here to Traverse City to get to know them and step them up to these bigger levels like these 2-star classes here. So great tool for a rider like him and these horses.
Claire Schrader now of Greenwich, Connecticut, the Seahorse LLC's Tomboy. The gelding for Claire, I think former ride of Jessica Mendoza, in fact. Again, probably been together for about 18 months now, something like that. Claire Schrader's first week here in Traverse City.
Fortunately, a rail coming down at the front rail of fence number 3. Claire, just a young rider, getting this great experience in these bigger classes, jumping these FEI level classes. Solid 4-fault round there in the power phase.
Yeah, just finishes on the 4 at 47.77 for Claire Schrader and Tomboy. As you say, not too much to worry about, but just dropping the one fence there for them. 49th of our 64 in the order for this afternoon's NetJets 142 phase. Claire Schrader making way for Mexico's Daniel Pedraza Littlewood, the Mexican rider with Santa Rosa Coldplay. We saw him last week as well. Here he's also been competing in Tryon, and in fact had 2 second spots there. One with Coldplay, one with Yolta, both with the Santa Rosa prefix on them. The Mexican rider, like a big group of them coming up here from Mexico up to Traverse City for the shows here. Now, good to see the likes of Nicolas Pizarro, number of the regular faces for the Mexican squad, right the way through to the championships competing here, and a few young faces as well.
We saw this combination jump to 3-star Grand Prix on Sunday.
Yep. Yeah, with 2 horses here. Yelta was the other one I mentioned, and
he did do this one on Sunday.
He
correct?
did. Yeah. Went around for 8 faults on Sunday.
Yeah. Unfortunately, having a rail down at fence number 5.
Yep, just leaves them on the 4 after the first phase. 47.73, 4 there for Daniel Pedraza Littlewood. Santa Rosa Coldplay. Quite a few just having that just well fence just as you come on the curve. Another rider who was with us last week in the Grand Prix is Guillermo Obligado, based in California as well, and this is going to be the Woodgrove Farm of California's Hidalgo, the gelding by Codex. And unfortunately, first fence, but I suppose from that point of view you can build from there.
You certainly can. Hopefully does. It's always tough as a rider to have that first jump down. I don't know what's worse, the first or the last jump. For concentration wise, it's definitely the first one.
Yeah, they all equal the same on the score sheet, but either way, he's getting back into the rhythm. They say something to build on. 51 of 64 gone so far.
First one is more frustrating for sure. Last one's maybe a little more heartbreaking.
And also a fence in that NetJets double there, unfortunately, coming home on the 8 in phase 1. Won't progress to phase 2. 8 it is there. It's 51.31 and 12 in total for Guillermo Obligado and Hidalgo. Just unfortunately the cherry vertical and just clips the NetJets double. The Ox are on the way in there. Claudia Ballesteros, and Claudia also hailing from Mexico. Claudia also another of those that has come through, the young rider. Ranks Destiny's Second Life Z, and competing in the 2 stars earlier on this year in Wellington. Actually had a good run at the tail end of last year in Monterey. A few placings in there as well, and of course spent a large chunk of that season based in Monterey. Actually was with us in Traverse City in September of last year as well.
Yeah, it's great to see. We have a lot of international riders here at Traverse City this year. Mexico is probably leading the way of international riders for sure. Big group of Mexican riders checking out all of what Traverse City has to offer. Claudia heading to the third jump. Had a little bit of rain today.
Yeah.
But the sun is trying to come out.
I like
Give us a nice afternoon.
I like your underestimation of a little bit of rain this morning. Compared to Tuesday, yes, it was a little bit of rain.
Yeah, has been quite a bit.
But it's all handled well. The surfaces, as you can see, are in top-class condition. Oops.
Fortunately, a refusal there at the first jump in the speed phase, fence number 9. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication between horse and rider there. See Claudia try and make a circle here and get back going, get some positive jumps in her before she leaves the ring. But back to it, we have had a lot of rain, but you know, the footing here is just so amazing. Done such a great job upgrading all the footing and the drainage here that there's no puddles whatsoever on the riding surfaces, even after, you know, some of the great rains that we've had this week.
And the good news is it's sunny for the rest of the week.
That's wonderful news. So we have a lot of show jumping
exactly
to come this week.
Unfortunately, just that stop is going to mean a little bit of time to add here as well. Leaves all the fence, well, just coming to the last fence, leaves that up. And we'll leave them on the 50.05. A little bit of time to add there as well. So a couple for time for Claudia Ballesteros and Destiny Second Life Z for the Mexican rider. Well, as we take a look at the leaderboard, it is Ashley Vogel still leading, Lucy in the sky, and it's going to be Michael in the distance now as Michael heads off to go and ride a few more horses.
Yes, off to do a few more rides, and Stephen, have a wonderful time. Good luck with the rest of the class, and we'll see you next time out.
Well, I'll see you for a few more classes yet this week. You're being
Certainly
dusted off later on. Thank you very much, Michael, and we will continue with Zevera Maurabush of Mexico and Mary Grillo Trottis Puertas Liz, and it is the Swedish-bred mare for the next Mexican riders. Unfortunately, first fence down for her as well. A face that we haven't seen too much of yet in Traverse City, making her first international appearance here as well in the 2-star. Has also been competing in Atomi, which is going to be one of the destinations for the Major League show jumping in San Miguel. That'll be at the other end of the year, or in the second half of the year, going into October, or end of October, and then into November in Monterrey. 2 stages down in Mexico. And score of 16 up to that point. And deciding to retire there. So retiring there, Zevera Maurabush of Mexico and Puertas Liz. And moving us on to Amy Miller of Canada, the Millebrook and Friends. Ericsson, the gelding by Padinas. Saw brother Jonathan a little bit earlier on. Amy also is going to be on the teams for Major League Jumping. She's part of the Eye Candy team. 8 teams in all, 6 on a team. And at each venue, it will be 4 of them that you'll see in the big classes. Team competition sees just 3 of them coming out, so that 6 gets whittled down in half to 3 for the team competition on a Saturday afternoon, evening of what's coming up for you and the first of those later on this week. Amy Miller then, an Olympic rider in 2016 for Canada. Team 4th on that occasion, just missing out on the medals. And then for her the last few weeks it's been appearances to including finishing 8th in the Grand Prix in Upperville. That was with Truman. Ericsson also been competing in Lexington. Another of those riders, of course the Canadian riders, many have stayed south of the border with the still ongoing circumstances in the world at the moment. So been competing here in America more than ever. Unfortunately, the Ox there closing out that first phase. So on the 4, 49.72 for Amy Miller and Ericsson. Still leading the way, Ashley Vogel, Mark Kinsella in 2nd, Rodrigo Lamre in 3rd. 55 gone of the 64 here this afternoon. Combination that we haven't seen in the international classes for a couple of weeks now. We saw them in the spring shows. Anna Wilkes, the British rider, now riding for the Andrew Wells stable, the Itasca Group's Gablitz P, the gelding by Yukato. Anna, who had a good youth career in the UK and recently moving over here to the States. Being based with Andrew's team now for a month or so, maybe even a couple of months now. It all flies along very quickly. It's a horse that Andrew Wells rode in a number of internationals now. Anna very swiftly getting to grips with it and put some good rounds in. Now, well into this second phase. Just a curve round, then back to the Major League fence. Just tucked behind the captive one. And then takes the outside line around the yellow fence over near the in-gate. Nice round, just curves up the line through the double. Coming to the last, not going to be too far away. And we'll leave her on a score of 37.53 as a time, clear as a score, and puts her in the top dozen into 12th place for Anna Wilkes there, and the Itasca Group's Gablitz P. Lindsay Archer, another of the Californian riders who stamped her mark here on the shows here in Traverse City, won here in the Welcome Stakes a couple of weeks ago into the spring shows there on her first appearance here with the Reese Farms at Jaipur, gelding by Ogano Seach. Very swiftly bringing her in with a few confident runs. Just another one with a touch at the Just World Oxer. Just goes out on the 4 after phase 1, 46.18, and finishing on the 4 there for Lindsay Archer and Jaipur. Takes us to our 57th of 64. Nicole Robredo now of Mexico. Just 20 years of age. Again, part of the Youth Olympic Games back in 2018 in Buenos Aires. That was part of the gold medal winning team there. The rider who also has been placed down in the recent two-star shows in Atumi and San Miguel. Also been competing in Valnavera on Monterrey. Monterrey back at the tail end of 2020. Based in Guadalajara, Chicana by Diorado, the 10-year-old mare for Nicole. First of 5 Mexican riders coming up in a row. Coming home on 16 in total. It's going to be 65.91. First outing for her here in Traverse City for Nicole Robredo of Mexico. Just gets high there. Just unfortunately doesn't find the width. Big high jumping combination. But unfortunately rolls a few poles on the way this time around. But something to build on for the rest of the week. Luciano Roberto Gonzalez Guerra of Mexico now, also from Guadalajara. And Erens is going to be the horse. Coming into the latter stages of this two-star competition here this afternoon. And another of the young riders in the field. 19-year-old who was a silver medalist back in 2017 in the children's section. Of course, the youth championships coming up here in Traverse City in August. Another combination they've been competing at Atumi down in Mexico. Might even be her first appearance here in the international classes here in the USA. Horse that came out of the Netherlands with Jürgen Stenfurt. Just unfortunately going to be the last fence there in the first phase. She's going to pop the next fence, but it does leave them on the 4. And 4 for Luciana Gonzalez Guerra. And leaves her on to a little bit further down the order. 4 in the first phase. Daniel Atimascana of Mexico. Come Back is the mare. And the breeding of Chintan and Contes. For another of the first-timers here in Traverse City this season. Nice clear put together so far for the 25-year-old. Combination that were placed down in Monterey. Just steadies then. Of course, it's also been ridden by the very good Mexican rider Nicolas Pizarro. Also with us here this week. And he decided enough, just having had the 4 faults, decides to put his hand up and say they are retired. So, Daniel heading on out. Just around 4 left to go. As we see, 60 of 64 on your screen. The R you see is the rank, that's the position they've gone into. Alexa Bertata Romero now. And Mizantla LS, the mare by Manzelo Lee LS as well. The LS from La Sierra, of course, the Monterey base. Monterey, as I say, will be a stage for Major League show jumping later on into the year. That'll be in November. Venue that staged many big competitions throughout its history, including going back, I think it was the Pulsar Crown, amongst others. Legs for another of the 19-year-old riders competing here. Again, a consistent tour of the Mexican shows over the last few weeks before heading here to the US. Last international outing in the 2 stars in Atomi back in May. Another one just a final fence and just barely rolls that, but unfortunately it goes. Julio David Viner making his way down. Julio, who was also in good form in Wellington this year, competed through a chunk of the season there from February. After a trip up also from Mexico before heading back down there to compete at San Miguel de Allende over the last few weeks as well. Julio with Cassini Gold. So on to the Mexican rider. Another of those riders in here with a bit more of experience has competed in 3 and right the way through to 5-star level in Spruce Meadows. Long-time partnership going back to 2015 internationally. And now this 14-year-old stallion by Cassini. Little look at the last fence. Just coming in on the 4 faults. They'll head out on 4. 52.77 on the 4 there for David Viner and Cassini Gold. Savannah Jenkins back to the USA, and from California, Woodland Hills, California to be exact, owned by Proper 12 LLC. This is Comrado, the gelding by Como. Savannah Jenkins, another of the first timers in the international classes here in Traverse City. Just drops the pole there, unfortunately. Comrado, the 10-year-old German-bred horse. In fact, a newer one for her into the international classes. First time in the internationals was competed back last year by Adrian Schmidt in Switzerland. And just that final fence. So, just unfortunately getting under that Just World fence and clips the last two. Total of 8, 46-13 for Savannah Jenkins of the USA. Reminder, it is Ashley Vogel still leading, the young rider leading on 28.70. Lucy in the Sky, Mark Kinsella in second, the Irishman, Brazil's Rodrigo Lambre, and Bacagan de Saint-Jean finishing in third at the moment. Still, I think, with one more to come. No, I think that's it. Looks like it. So concludes our NetJets large tour two-phase here this afternoon, $5,000 class, just really a pipe opener for many of them, a good starting class for the week. 2-star classes to come tomorrow and with the Grand Prix on Sunday as well. But reminder, 5-star gets underway tomorrow too, and with a tour in the middle of the day of classes to get them going. We'll then go into some big stuff throughout the day, and of course Saturday and Sunday. Sunday morning kicks off with a big class. Saturday, $72,900 in the prize fund for a very good classes across those at the weekend, and of course building towards over $200,000 in the Grand Prix here on Sunday afternoon. And on Saturday, the debut of the new team event at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. Ashley Vogel, though, will be the lady who lands into the leading spot in this NetJets large tour class. Lucy in the Sky, Mark Kinsella in second with Viking de l'Homme, Rodrigo Lamre in third with Bacagan de Saint-Jean. It is James Brennan and the Crook Show Jumping's Milton in fourth, and Emma Marlowe in fifth place. Style Whore, Erin Ballard in sixth with another new ride for her. Sagar de Revalanche will complete the top 6. Well done to them. And say more 2-star classes you can follow on the stream throughout, coming up over the rest of the afternoon, and we'll be back with commentary, myself and several others throughout the week for the classes that we will see. 5-star, 2-star and a mix of teams. All of that an exciting week here in Traverse City.
Efforts. Again, they'll be with us to accept the top prizes here in just a moment. A.J. Holmes leading those 3 winners down the ramp right now to pick up the prizes here in our NetJets large tour meter 42 phase competition. Standings on the board, as you can see, while they make their way through the Traverse City Horse Show's arch here in our Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel International Ring. Again, those top 3, including Ashley Vogel, Mark Kinsella, and Rodrigo Lambre, with Lucy in the Sky for the USA, Viking de l'Homme for Ireland, and again, Bacogan de Saint-Jean for Brazil in those first, second, and third spots. Video cameras roll here thanks to Clip My Horse TV. The photographs, of course, taken by our representatives of Andrew Ryback Photography. But before we get to the actual presentation of the awards and the victory photographs, it's time to honor our winner from the nation of the United States of America. We'll do so, of course, with the playing of that national anthem as we ask all of you to please rise and remove cover. Ashley Vogel of the USA. There you have it again, the national anthem of our winning country here, Ashley Vogel of the USA with Lucy in the Sky, 28:70, her time that got the victory. We'll work our way up from third to second to first of the presentations now, and of course in third place, it was the original clear of the class, Rodrigo Lambre aboard the Mario Oñate entry, Bakogan de Saint-Jean, the entry out of Brazil in 33:09, which again stayed in that third position. By our NetJets fence, we'll have the photographs taken here as we once again thank our representative Laura Southard for being with us here and bringing us that NetJets support. Photograph of our third place recipient. Once again, it's Rodrigo Lambret and Bakogan de Saint-Jean. Finishing with the second award, it was Mark Kinsella of Ireland. Alberto Torres of Viking Gelom finishing in second. His time, of course, was 29.51 for the runner-up placing. Came about 2/3 of the way through our class here today. And that round was turned in about 6 trips following the effort we saw from Ashley Vogel. And Ashley will now emerge into the winner's circle wearing the winner's cooler, the blue ribbon, and taking the top share of our $5,000 prize. She's aboard Lucy in the Sky. A 28:70 time gives her the victory. So there you have the win. It goes to Ashley Vogel. Congratulations with her effort aboard Lucy in the Sky. And of course, not only has she earned the blue and the big prize money, as well as one of the first ever awarded Major League show jumping coolers, since this is our inaugural Major League event, but she's also earned the opportunity to lead that victory lap in a hotly contested class. 61 starters, the best time, of course, 28:70, and she will head off for the round of honor. Round the bend she goes. Ashley Vogel with the winning time aboard Lucy in the Sky. Again in our Meter 40 Large Tour competition sponsored by NetJets. Visit NetJets.com today to find out about our official sponsor and the worldwide leader in private aviation, offering seamless travel options to athletes and attendees every year. Well, we're going to move along now. It is, of course, our Thursday amateur and juniors in the high division that will be coming up next. We'll give our crew some opportunity to adjust that course and be back with you here shortly. We'd like our amateur and high juniors to be standing by to walk that course as soon as it's set. We'll have just a brief drag break between the amateur and junior start.